Shalom, all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and all well. And Shalom to all the brothers doing the work, sincerity and truth. Yeah. Got this article on Bloomberg by way of Yahoo Finance. It says what Digital One gives China a new tool to strike back at critics. Is once again going into that Digital One, that digital currency, them cryptos that are basically being pushed out by like the national banks, by the countries, and it's talking about China, but it's significant to the US as well because it's going to go into it how essentially the digital currencies being created and what they're being utilized for is what for control, and that's the thing that Esau loves. That's what he's got an obsession with, man. This guy's got a god complex where these elites want to control any and everything, like the Most High has everything under control. They're thinking of taking his position, and through Esau, he's wiser than Daniel. He's been given that wisdom, and his monetary system is one of the core parts of that control. So when he's developing all these different, like the digital currencies, all these monetary policies, he basically those things give him a wide, broad range of control. That's why you have the age-old quote from, I believe, it was from one of the Rothschilds: "Give me control of a nation's money, I care not who makes the laws." And that's something you've seen, even on a scale of like the lower level guys, like the Jeff Bezoses, the Bill Gates, all these guys. Them guys that run them companies, Elon Musk's, it's like a lot of them companies don't pay no tax. These guys get niced up, man. These guys are basically in bed with the elites who run the society. Because why? These guys are going to play a role in that New World Order. They're those big super companies that, again, is a system of control. Because that's the thing. It's like with Amazon now, a good example is Amazon. Because with Amazon now, it's like whilst they provide whilst they're edging out the competition, then they'll provide a superior service, better prices, blah blah blah. But once there's no competition left, then all you're gonna have is Amazon. So they can do whatever they want with the prices. They can do whatever they want with, supplies, the time you get shit delivered, all these different things. And that's how Esau gets down, monopolizing and then destroying through those monopolies, man, making as much money until the fucking wheels fall off. And that's why Esau, his system, his kingdom is unsustainable. It can't go on forever, man. This thing's got a limited time span, man. The bounds have been set. But let me read on. So it says, even as China grows in economic and military power, perhaps nothing reveals Beijing's weaknesses more than the US's control of the global financial system. China, the US is the one that's running. That's why everyone's talking about China. The thing is, everyone's like saying China's going to come up. China ain't going to rule, man. It's next it's going to be Yahweh Shai. It's going to be the elect of Israel. And through them all Israel's going to be the next ones to take the rulership seat. So it says, U.S. sanctions. China has recently sought ways to counteract U.S. sanctions after the Trump administration targeted Chinese officials and companies over policies from the South China Sea to Xinjiang. Hong Kong's leader can't access a bank account, and a top executive at Huawei Technologies Co. is detained in Canada. Even China's state-run banks are complying with U.S. sanctions. That's one reason the Biden administration is starting to study whether China's development of a digital currency will make it harder for the U.S. to enforce sanctions. Bloomberg reported earlier this month the Digital One, which could see a wider rollout of the 2020 Winter Olympics in Beijing, is also spurring the US to consider creating a digital dollar. And that's a lot of things get basically get pushed out because with the Olympics, these things are like big international events, where it's and it goes back to that ancient witchcraft that the Greeks got down with, honoring the Greek gods. So it has this pagan origins, and these things have, it's just like with the World Cup, these big global events that has impact and influence over the masses, man. People will go there, they'll use it, and they'll be like, "Wow, it's such high tech, blah blah blah," because that's kind of how people are. They're thinking of, they've bought into the kind of futuristic, uh, you know, uh, even with biohacking, all these different things. They're gonna think it's just the next step. You're gonna get chips put in you, you're gonna get cybernetic this, and then it's gonna enhance your thinking and blah blah blah. But they don't realize these things are all the plans of the elites. What with wicked aims and ends, man. Uh, it's also spurring the U.S. to consider creating a digital dollar. Yeah, so China might be the impetus, but then really that's something that these elites have been planning for a while anyway, man. These guys want that total control. They're gonna have those implantable microchips that go under the skin, and it's gonna be like, hey, if you ain't complying with that, then you ain't gonna be able to operate within the society, man. So it says, but instead of challenging US dollar dominance and neutralizing sanctions, the digital one appears potentially more geopolitically significant as leverage over multinational companies and governments that want access to China's 1.4 billion customers. So yeah, it's about money. It's about money. I can get this because I like this scripture. What is it? Revelation 18 and 9. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her. That includes China. China is one of those kings of the earth that's living deliciously, basically off that lifestyle. Them guys have adopted the beast system. They're utilizing the what comes with having access to the market of the US, that big consumer market, and they're able to make cash money, man. They're able to live a certain lifestyle that comes from what? From adopting the ways of the beast, man, the beast system. And as such, that's these guys. That's what they want to hold on to, man. Presently, and live deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. Yeah, and it's what they're gonna be in fear because it's how America's gonna get wiped off the face of the earth. That's gonna be terrifying. That's what it said. Even the elect, man, will scarcely make it, and then the elect are gonna be scared, man. Because why? It's gonna be a grand destruction, man. That's why it's you got people that are saying like, oh, if this went down, blah blah blah. They're not really considering these things, man. They ain't got they're not seeing these things in their mind, man. These things aren't real to them, which is why they're talking mess. When it becomes clear and it's going down, it's going to be a completely different feel. That's why you always see in the movies. It's like people will be living like people. That's the thing, is no matter what like occurs, and it's funny because it happened like the start of this whole lockdown situation, this pandemic situation. People were feeling terrified. People are like, oh my god, it's like, what's going on? And then after a while, people just kind of realize the scale of it, and now are just lackadaisical with it. They're not really thinking judgments are far off, but they're only looking at it from the carnal sense. They're just looking at it because of Esau's, all the governments of the world basically took it to that level. They're not thinking about, okay, when the power that's above all these different kings, hey, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is over them all. So when he's then in gonna be bringing terror on the earth and judgment on the earth, it's gonna be even more terror. It's gonna be terrible. So this is what, and the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. Yeah, that's that. China's that a big proponent of that, because them men are what is it? I was thinking of they're like, even with American bonds, them men have all kinds of America. Them men have a horrendous amount of American debt bought up. Why? Because they're basically trying to get that leverage and making sure that they maintain that relationship with the US, which that big consumer market that lets them basically all their production be sold on, man. They're making money off that. It says the merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all fine wood and all manner of vessels of ivory, all manner of vessels of most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble and cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men. Yeah. Even the slaves and the souls of men, man. That's all forms of everything's for sale, man. In America, man. That's why it's even them souls of men, man. But what these are the things that these guys are investing. This is what they love. This is what they desire to continue within the system, man. Because it enables that lifestyle. What does it say? Okay, there was U.S. actions. There was a bit more I wanted. So potential devastation. There was something else. Okay. Not as the sanctions invade. Okay. Think this says that this is from the other side of the coin. Beijing not as a sanctions evader, but more empowered to enforce its own financial muscle, said Fanucci, who has written extensively on how central bank digital assets may impact US financial sanctions. China's digital currency is as much about data as it is about money, he added. Foreign firms that use the digital yuan might end up handing over to Chinese governments lots of real-time data that it could not access efficiently through conventional banking technology. Yeah, it basically gives them a much higher level of tracking and control over people and what they do with their money. And these are the things that these governments, what the fuck? Yeah, so luck. I forgot the point I was on still. Okay, let me read on. China's ability to see every transaction may make it difficult for foreign banks to use the digital yuan and still comply with confidentiality rules in their home countries. According to Emily Jin, a research assistant at the Center for New American Security, she added, the currency might appear to some regimes that prioritize control over privacy protection. They might find it easier to convince governments more authoritarian in their leaning that it helps monitor illicit activities to stop them quickly or stop them before they happen. They aren't going to market it to everyone. Now, it's funny as well, is that they're saying that, hinting at like, oh, maybe like Russia or whatever. But essentially that control, that's the same thing that Esau's about, man. The American system is all about that control as well. They're like these men got exposed. Well, what's his name? Edward Snowden. Spying on their own civilians, spying on the U.S. Because why? Esau. That's the main goal, man. Having total this is what he did. He desires total incorruptible control over his nation, man, over his peoples. But hey, these things. Oh, well, actually, yeah. These things. Esau is he's gonna get to a certain extent because he's gonna get the mark in. That's in prophecy. But what he ain't gonna get everything. But that's what he's looking for. So okay, skip down a little bit. It says the digital one would serve as a backup to Ant Group's Ant Group Co's Alipay and Tencent Holdings Limited's WeChat Pay, which together make up 98% of the mobile payments market, according to Mu Chang Chun. Yeah, so as far as for China, they've, especially because they integrate a lot of it into, they'll have your ID and bare other things all integrated with your account, with your bank account, with your ID. These things are all going to be linked. So that's why it has it. It's a much easier setup for them to get all consolidated and set up. But hey, the US is setting these things up, and a lot of that kind of consolidation, because in the EU they said like what? Essentially with like your vaccination status, your what they called thingy rules, I can't remember, like your general health kind of checkup, and it'll be, because it's like for travel as well, it'll be linked up with your passport, where you're going, all these different things. ESO's building them systems for these things to go down, man. So Revelation 13 and 16, he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Yeah. So that's what it's all these currencies, all this developments, and basically all these barriers Esau's putting in to interacting with society. It's all leading to what? To basically you're gonna have to be dealing with a mark to stay within it, man. And that's what Esau's goal's been from the jump, man. People, there's people that actually sitting there believing America was about, some form of righteousness or greatness, or like they actually think it's the New Jerusalem and New Heavens. They actually think it's a kingdom of heaven. But hey, it's that whore, man, that great merchant city. It's gonna be judged, man. That's why Esau's already showing his nature and character, man. So don't be surprised. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom.